Decorated veteran. Bob Maginn grew up in Petrolia but spent most of his life in St. Thomas. In the first of a two-part Remembrance Day feature, Sean Irvine introduces us to the Korean War veteran whose tough guy attitude is mixed with the raw emotion of remembrance.
At 88, Bob Maginn remains one tough soldier who once got in a fight after a private would not follow his orders.
Anyways, he said, make me, I bumped him.
But this decorated veteran of the Korean War can lose his tough guy exterior quickly when he thinks about those who never came home.
I'm that kind of guy. I get a little sentimental. It's okay.
A young child during the Second World War, he left school to find few job prospects. In his late teens, the Army looked like the best option. But it was 1950, and he knew something was up in Korea.
Well, it was on the news all the time, what was happening, and the Canadians in there.
Signing up in January of 1951, Bob was discovered to be too young to go and fight. Instead, he was left to train for almost 2 years on the home front. It was a frustrating time that led to that fight you've already heard about. But as it turns out, that tussle got him a meeting with a major who saw something in Bob.
This major came up to me and asked me if I'd ever been charged in the Canadian Army. I said, yes, sir. He said, what for? And I said, fighting, sir. He said, you're going to NCO school. You joined the Army to fight.
Now a corporal, Bob boarded a boat overseas.
How do you feel about being on that boat? Are you excited?
I got seasick for 3 days.
After more training in Japan, Bob shipped out for Korea with the belief he'd be fine.
You always say, it happens to the other guy, not you. I mean, that is a known fact as far as I'm concerned. That it's not going to happen to me.
Bob quickly learned he would not spend any time waiting in Korea. He and the 7 men and 2 reporters he commanded were shipped straight to the front line. For the next 5 months, save for a 7-day leave, he spent most nights in the cold and dark, facing the enemy.
We're waiting for anything to happen. And we're in a race, Patty, and it's raining. And a rat jumped from this knee to that knee and kept right on going. And you can't make a move.
But sometimes Bob and his men had to react. Each time he followed the advice of his major, who told him, unless I tell you someone is coming.
If you hear a noise to the right, you shoot. You hear a noise to the left, you shoot. And behind you, you shoot.
In the end, Bob only fired 1 shot during those anxiety-filled nights. But that does not mean he didn't live through the horrors of combat on Hill 187 along the 38th parallel.
And we stepped on a stretcher, he died right then. Yeah. 19 years old.
Tomorrow night, we'll hear the backstory on Bob's most painful moment of the Korean War. We'll also hear how this veteran of what was once known as Canada's Forgotten War wants you to remember this November 11th. Sean Irvine, CTV News.
Looking forward to it. Thanks, Sean. Well, just in time for Remembrance Day, a new exhibit at Museum London is looking at the lives of veterans who were injured and wounded in the line of duty. The exhibit is also featured in the Words Festival taking place tonight, where some of those highlighted discuss the battles they still face. CTV's Merrick Sutherland has the story.
One of the galleries in Museum London is showing off the work of Stephen Thorne to honor the veterans who made it back but have been forever changed.
What it does is it features 16 photographs of veterans of Canada's Armed Services, people men and women who were wounded either physically or psychologically or both.
The photos are accompanied by a story of the subjects and give a stark account of the battles each have faced.
So Stephen Thorne explains that if you are photographing clothes, you photograph in color. But if you're photographing the soul, you photograph in black and white. So, and with this project, he is absolutely going for the soul.
The Wounded exhibit is on loan from the Canadian War Museum and will be able to be viewed here at Museum London until February 13th, 2022.
People who visit the exhibition will really enjoy just studying each composition and thinking about what Stephen wanted to communicate, but also what each person who sat for a photograph wanted to say.
The show will also be featured during the Words Festival on November 9th, a virtual event that will feature the photographer and some of the subjects.
This show is about the recovery and resilience of veterans in Afghanistan, and we thought it was an excellent fit to put within our lineup as well, and to join forces with the audience that comes to Words, as well as the audience that would come to the museum to see an exhibition like this.
To sign up for the event or one of the 30 other virtual events planned for the month of November, you can go to our website for a link to their page. Merrick Sutherland, CTV News.